Hey guys, what's going on? John here from What's Spinning, here to chat about this new Action Bronson album, Only for Dolphins. Action Bronson is a Flushing-based MC who, in his early days, truly excited the hell out of me. Now, I'm a guy who loves personality in his MCs, and in his early days, Action Bronson had personality to spare. His early mixtapes like Dr. Lecter and Well Done are an absolute blast. They were charismatic as hell, genuinely hilarious at times. Not only that, but Action Bronson seemed aggressive as hell. He could really spit. Bronson also found a lot of early great success with works with The Alchemist, like Rare Chandeliers, and my personal favorites, the Party Supplies produced Blue Chips projects 1 and 2. Both are top notch. But ever since, I'll be perfectly honest, Action Bronson and me can't seem to get on the same page. His commercial debut, Mr. Wonderful, honestly had a lot of great tracks going into it, especially Actin' Crazy and my personal favorite, Easy Rider, but also the rest of the album was completely stifling to his energy. Blue Chips 7000 to me was just such a freaking letdown after the gold of the first two in the series, and White Bronco just had me scratching my head most of the time. Really odd project. However, I think personally that Bronson, if he got focused, still has a little juice left in the tank. Take for example that Lamb Over Rice album that he did last year with The Alchemist. It was short, it was sweet, it was interesting, and going into this album, it's been pretty solid, at least from the single standpoint. Let's chat about this thing. This album starts off with Capoeira featuring Young Mexico, and honestly, this is a pretty good start. I mean, at the end of the day, this is probably one of the most straightforward Action Bronson tracks you can find. But it's everything I love about him. It's over the top. It's braggadocious. It's insanely quotable. Not only that, but here he seems to recapture a lot of the swagger of his early mixtapes. Latin Grammys, on the other hand, is a really great surprise. This is probably one of the better tracks Bronson has wrote in years. This track is legitimately hilarious, especially after just how absent-minded he seemed on his last few projects. Not only that, but the pop culture references seem to be coming to Action Bronson so easily again. It's something that I've always loved about his early work. I mean, yeah, you could argue that this isn't as aggressive or as cutting as his early mixtapes, but for me, I love this. And GoldenEye, low-key, is becoming one of my favorite hip-hop singles of the year. I love how rough this track sounds. It reminds me a lot of the mafioso rap that he was putting out on some of his early tapes like Dr. Lecter. Mostly because he just sounds so confident. What a diamond in the rough this track is. And I have a lot of the same feelings on Mongolia, featuring Hologram and Mayhem Loren. This track has just so much swagger to it. I love the beat, and Hologram and Mayhem Loren are just two guys that he has a lot of great chemistry with. I'm gonna be honest, hearing a lot of these tracks early on gave me hope for the rest of the album. Maybe Action Bronson really does have juice left in the tank. Oh god, but no, that really doesn't seem to be the case. C12, H16, N2 is, oof, bad. You know, with all these early great tracks, I'm thinking to myself, where's the fluff? Ah, here it is. This is where Action Bronson continues to lose me. Between his lackadaisical performance and honestly a beat that he sounds like he ripped off a royalty-free music site, there isn't much to love here. Look, there are some funny one-liners and some memorable moments. The exotic olive oil line really got me. I thought that was hilarious. But outside of that, what is this besides a big waste of time? The Filler Express kind of rages on with Vega. Look, this instrumental is so over the top and lavish that Bronson should have owned this. But he doesn't. It's actually pretty unlistenable. And Splash, oh boy, Bronson, you shouldn't have, buddy. I mean, listen, take this track and put it in a segment on like the Eric Andre show or Tim and Eric, and this would have been a knockout. But I feel like I'm missing the joke here, especially just listening to it with nothing to, I don't know, accompany it. It's funny in theory, but on a short album with only 12 tracks, this is not for me, man. Sergio isn't much better. Like, remember back in the day when everybody was comparing Action Bronson to Ghostface Killer and just how freaking aggressive he was and cutting? And then I hear this, and I'll be honest, the content here, the lyrical themes, sound like they belong on an Action Bronson album. But the boring production, the lackadaisical beat, nothing about this gets me excited. I don't know what's going on with Action Bronson these days. How is he that much in the middle of the road right now? How is it this hard for him to stay on track? I mean, Shredder is actually pretty good. As far as a deep cut goes, it may be my favorite here. This instrumental is ridiculously good. It feels like listening to like an expository scene from the original Suspiria movie or something. But it has just enough oomph here to wake action up a bit, get him grooving again. And when he does, he creates a lot of really great stuff. This track is super short, but it is a no-frills track. It arrives, it does what it needs to do, and it gets out. I'm all for that. But Cliffhanger isn't good, man. Not at all. This instrumental is right back in the dime a dozen category. Now, I will say this. I don't completely hate Action Bronson's performance here. I actually think he's got some pretty memorable bars. But personally, I think hopping from one producer to the next on this album is really making this inconsistent. He needs to stick with someone that he's worked with in the past quite a bit, like Party Supplies or The Alchemist. But just when I'm about to close the book on this album, Marcus Aurelius is a freaking awesome track. It's laid back and groovy and it just carries itself wonderfully. There's nothing cliche here. There's nothing goofy. For a few short minutes, I could take Bronson seriously. I mean, not entirely seriously because I doubt he even takes himself seriously sometimes, but still more seriously than I usually do. But if I heard more of tracks like this, I would be much more eager to go into an Action Bronson project these days. But Bronson completely just drops the ball with the finale here, hard target. This is really rough to listen to, and it's the longest track here. This instrumental is a disaster. It is a freaking mess, and his verse is uninspired as hell here. This sounds like outtakes from Fuck That's Delicious that Vice accidentally aired. Not only is it the longest track here, but trust me, it feels like it. Action Bronson is in such a slump right now. You know what? The most of this album is really not that good and not focused. And there are little bits and pieces here, great singles, great bars that show that Action Bronson has a lot of juice left in the tank, but he needs to get focused and get inspired soon and really get more aggressive. That's what I think, because right now, this isn't cutting it for me. I'm feeling a very light 6 on this album, but let me know what you guys think down below. If you like the video, be sure to give us a like, give us a subscribe, and let me know down below what you would like for me to chat about in the future. And until next time, have a great day, guys.